more law enforcement.
Whoa, this one's good. Zeph doesn't get. We don't get Zeph on YouTube anymore. He's laying this out pretty good, so I'm gonna let him talk. But I want this information on my channel. But there's no sense in me telling you if I can bring Zeph, who's not here. I don't think Zeph would care. I love Zeph, dude. He's the shit. I'm going to go back a little bit, but listen to this, though. Can I get some Zeph? Can I get my resume? Oh, we're not going to resume? Hey, motherfucker. Hey, motherfucker.
No, don't do this. But if you did that, they would be at your door immediately. That's the police.
Okay, hold on.
Cleaning up the environment.
All right, we'll start from there.
The Democrats are the worst polluters of the environment, and have pretty much trashed it with their windmills and their whatever else they're doing. All their regulations and especially the FDA. I mean, my God, the Food and Drug Administration okaying all these harmful dyes and seed oils, all this stuff that is really just bad for people, making America the worst polluter and the worst health of the entire world, even though trillions have been spent on it. How does that happen?
I think it went a little too far.
It's because God held back the real onslaught of the intent of the attack. But that's never mentioned because she's such a fucking stupid idiot. And you can't listen to people like that. And they're telling you not to pray and to think about the trans victims. They're all victims, and they had to do this. It's the people in the church's fault.
That trans girl had all kinds of guns. They didn't report that, though. Her mom left the country, lawyered up, and it's the same MO. They wind them up, and they let them go. They let them do these shootings and stuff. Because once you start looking into who the parents are, guess what?
It's those kids' fault. Then, to top it all off, on Reddit and elsewhere on X, and they're celebrating the death of the kids. And they're saying they're coming for all the kids. And the head of the spear is the trans, basically the trans Manchurian candidates, who are trained to shoot up schools, churches, whatever. The goal is to kill kids and white people.
Thanks.
Who are to blame for the brainwashing of the transitioners, whose parents that pushed them into it or teachers that don't bear any responsibility whatsoever. The trans people then, after they get the surgery or whatever, they hate themselves because they can't go back. The obvious blame is the school and the parents, and instead they blame society. That then gets shaped by professional trainers who train them into be, killers. And now there's this big copycat serial killer trans movement that is basically the fault of a sick society. So, what do they push after the shooting? Gun control.
Of course.
Peaceful people who never had one problem or infraction with the guns are now the target because of what mentally ill people did, who shouldn't have had guns in the first place. And I would just say that, there needs to be a law that any trans individual who identifies as such should not be allowed to own a firearm. I mean, that may be fascist to them, but unfortunately they can't be, because there's no trans that becomes a transition from man to woman. First of all, it doesn't exist. Second of all, there is no one that goes through that process that doesn't become mentally ill. Meaning mentally ill, meaning, okay, unstable, unbalanced, influenced, trainable, traumatized, and many end up on SSRI drugs, which can cause homicidal behavior. Along with training, where did the weapons come from? Well, Mama lawyered up. Dad was part of the intelligence, global intelligence network for the shooter, Robin, the trans shooter. And Mom lawyered up and got out of the country.
Surprise.
Because I doubt very much this guy would be able to afford all those very expensive weapons that he had, unless he had some help.
No.
But we don't talk about that. So that's why I'm doing the podcast, because this was a big piece that was left out of all the reporting I've heard. We have not heard about who provided the weapons. Now, I guarantee it wasn't him. Was that Dad's gun? Was that Mom's gun?
I think Mommy bought it.
If Mommy bought it, there's a good reason Mommy's out of the country right now with criminal defense attorneys that she's hired to handle her case. And she had to do that because she would go to jail for providing arms illegally to her son, with the idea that he would shoot up Catholic kids and maybe the school. And, I think they were looking for a much bigger number than 2 kids. I think they were looking to make history. Because he had a lot of guns. Okay. He had a lot of guns. And,
you can't make it up.
More than just enough to kill a couple of kids and wound some adults. He had enough to kill, 100 people. And I'm sure that's more or less what they wanted. Then they turn it all into gun control because the people running this program, the leftist trans program, which is what it is. It's a left-wing communist organization. And that's the I have all the proof on this. I've been gathering all week all the proof on this to make sure that there's no, they always say there's a right-wing boomer. I mean, you had trained SEAL MK Ultra Rosie, trauma-based wreck on the side of the road, get on X and say that, and claim that a white supremacist, a MAGA Trump supporter, just shot up the school. And people are playing that clip. That doesn't die. That clip's out there. It's all their program. It's all, it's the Jamie Raskins and her and Obama and Hillary and all that, and Soros and all the funding and the Bill Gates and the UN, and it's that whole global program to destabilize society. And it's really working in the UK because now we're on the verge of a really hot, big-time civil war. And it all has to do with the migrants, forcing the migrants on the people, and then saying, okay, so all the white people in the UK, you were second-class citizens.
Now, this is where you need to listen.
If there's a skirmish and you have to defend yourself against one of these migrants, you have lesser rights than they do. You will be the one that goes to jail for defending yourself because you're persona non grata. So the government has turned on the people completely, 100%. They have to fight back. And let me just take this opportunity to give my support to that brave little girl that raised up the axe and club or whatever, the axe and the machete, whatever she had there, the sword and the axe. Like Braveheart out of Scotland. And she may be the symbol for the new civil war in the UK, which is an absolute necessity at this point because I believe the government will kill all of them if they don't respond. And that's, that's a very successful operation by the global elites who've planned to run COVID. They're also going to, break out another pandemic. But see, right now, if they tried to break it out right now today, it would be rammed up their asses. It'd be punched down their throats. They would be en masse uprising. there would be, you tell my kids what to do one more time, you're the one that's going to Gitmo. You're the one that's going to the FEMA camps. You're the people that are going to be rounded up. There is no more cooperation with you.
No way.
The CDC, the government, the global elite, the Federal Reserve,
we didn't ever begin.
The British government, and any other government that is chicken shit enough, asshole enough to go along with these global dictates and orders, take their citizens, call them second-class citizens, and then assault them, punish them, throw them in jail, and harass them and traumatize them in the name of a new program. In other words, the ultimate traitor, turning against your own humanity. Because most of these cops and prosecutors in the UK are white. They're trying to make it a color revolution, so that's basically it. And they're following the program. That was supposed to happen in the United States. Remember they had the movie Civil War? Remember how they had to make it a black woman that killed Trump, the symbolic of Trump? It had to be this color thing. It has to be that. And that's all the Democrats think about. The other thing they think about is, since they're soulless pretty much, they are godless. I mean, the first thing they do is they say, quit praying. When the trans Robin does his thing, they say, quit praying. Let's focus on how hard they have it. Tim Walz, all these guys tied to China, tied to global communism, are basically shoving it down our throats. Why is Tim Walz not in prison for 30 years? Why? It's impossible. He's a total criminal. He belongs in prison. Why is Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass not in prison? I mean, these guys are ready to go. Why is Jamie Raskin not rounded up for sedition when he is promising a civil war? Why is that? It's because Trump and you don't have control of the United States. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
And Trump's doing an amazing job for considering that half his own base is